that. Say, I want to see you. Come on, sing that a little. Open the eyes.
Open the eyes of my heart, Lord.
Come on, sing to him. Oh.
Open the eyes of my heart.
I
want to see you.
Come on, sing to him.
I want to see you.
See you high and lifted
See
up.
you high and lifted up.
Come on, help me sing to our God.
Shining in the light of your glory.
Sing to him, open.
Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy.
Oh, to see you high.
High and lifted up.
Shining in the light of your glory.
Shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy.
Exodus 33, verse 12 says, Moses said to the Lord, you've been telling me lead these people, but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. You said, I know you by name and you found favor with me. If you're pleased with me, teach me your ways, so I may know you and continue to find favor with you. Remember that this nation is your people. And the Lord replied, my presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. Then Moses said to him, if your presence does not go with us, do not send us from here. How will anyone know that you are pleased with me and with your people unless you go with us? What else will distinguish me and your people from all the other people on the face of the earth? And the Lord said to Moses, I will do the very thing you have asked, because I am pleased with you, and I know you by name. Then Moses said, now show me your glory. And the Lord said, I will cause all my goodness to pass in front of you, and I will proclaim my name, the Lord, in your presence. And I will have mercy on whom I have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. But he said, you cannot see my face, for no one may see me and live. Then the Lord said, there is a place. It's near me, where you may stand on a rock. And when my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft in the rock and cover you with my hands until I have passed by. Then I will remove my hand and you will see my back. But my face you must not be seen. Be seated in the presence of the Lord. There is a place near me where you may stand on a rock. And when my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft in the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Family, for just a few minutes, I want to talk about staying in the near place. I'm not going to be long. I just need a minute. Staying in the near place. Our children are going into children's church now. You can join Miss Marsh at the back. Staying in the near place. The Lord said there's a place near me where you can stay and stand. There's a place where you can know my ways and continue to bathe in my favor. There's a place where you can sit uninterrupted in my presence and know that it is with you and has gone before you. There is a place where you can see my glory and my goodness and my mercy will wash over you and pass by you. There's a place. There's a place near me where I will hide you in the cleft, the broken place of a rock, and I'll cover you with my hand. But you've got to stay there. You've got to choose to stay in the near place. Somebody tell your neighbor, stay there. Stay there. This morning, I'm not going to be long, not going to take up too much time. I just need to make one quick closing argument this morning. This month, we've been in a series teaching on worship encounters, and all month long, we've been making and modeling a very simple argument. The argument is this: power with God does not preempt intimacy with God. That's the simple argument. Power with God does not preempt intimacy. It does not come before intimacy with God. What does that mean? If we want the benefits of God's power, if we want the joy and the beauty of God's power active in our lives, they don't just pop up out of nowhere. They're not the result of some formula or magic set of words or actions. They're not awarded in trade for having a certain level of faith or good works. Pass me that water bottle, please. They don't just pop up out of nowhere. Thank you. Walking in the power of God, it comes as a result of nurturing an intimate relationship with Him. Hear me. It comes as a result of nurturing intimacy with Him. Power with God does not preempt intimacy with God. Somebody's been asking, why don't I feel Him? Why can't I get right? Why can't I stop dealing with this addiction, this issue? Why can't I get these relationships right in my life? Why can't I get the job I'm looking for? Power with God does not preempt intimacy with God. Jesus said it like this in John 15:5. He said, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you remain in me and I in you, you will produce much fruit. If you stay in me, if you stay with me in relationship, in conversation, in intimacy with me, and I in you, if you stay, you will produce much fruit. Power with God does not preempt intimacy with God. We've been sitting with that notion all month, and not just that, but we've been asking ourselves some questions. If true power, true impact, true fruit comes from intimacy with God, how do we build more intimacy with God? So we've been changing the order of service. I'm preaching real early because we're trying to create space to actually model what we're learning. If true power, true impact, if it comes from intimacy with God, how then? How do we create an atmosphere of intimacy in our lives with Him? And here's what we've been learning. Power with God, it comes from intimacy with God. Intimacy with God comes from a relationship with Him. And relationship with God is born out of an encounter with Him. Right? Power with God comes from intimacy. Intimacy with God comes from relationship. And relationship with God is born out of worship encounters with Him. Family, this is the premise of everything we've been talking about this month. Worship encounters, worship experiences with God that produce greater intimacy with Him. They share important qualities. They teach us some things. Lesson number 1, we learned that Jonah, a couple of weeks ago, Jonah helped us see that pure worship encounters, they can teach us how to enter into the presence of God. There's a how to enter into the presence of God. We don't just show up like we're doing Him a favor. We don't just show up like I'm here, the party can begin. There's a how to enter into the presence of God. Lesson number 2, Isaiah helped us see that worship encounters can teach us how to perceive, how to notice, how to become aware of the presence of God. Isaiah said, in the year that King Uzziah died, I perceived, I became aware of the Lord for the first time in my life, perhaps. And somebody might be experiencing that. So Uzziah has to die sometimes first. But you can get to a place where you can actually perceive the Lord in a worship encounter. Lesson number 3, last time, Solomon helped us discover that worship encounters teach us how to wait on God, how to wait on his weight, his kabod, his presence. A worship encounter, in a worship encounter, we learn that he's not really waiting on us. We need to have some discipline to wait on him. And for a few minutes this morning, just my closing argument, I think Moses wants to teach us what it looks like to stay in the presence of God. We got to stay. Then the Lord said, there's a place near me. Family, I need you to understand this morning, your enemy is actually perfectly fine with you entering into the presence of God. He's fine with that. He don't mind if you enter into the presence of God. He's perfectly fine with that. He's just fine with you knowing that there's a way you're supposed to enter into God's presence. He's fine with that. He doesn't mind if you've been trained and have to have a keen ability to perceive, to notice, to become aware of the presence of God. That don't bother him. He doesn't even mind if you every once in a while you lay everything aside and you wait on the weight of God's presence. He doesn't mind that either. He doesn't mind any of that. He don't care if you enter in. He doesn't mind if you notice and become aware of. He doesn't even mind if you wait on God's presence. When the enemy starts getting concerned is when you figure out how to stay there. That's when he starts getting alarmed. When you figure out how to stay there. When the enemy starts getting concerned is when you figure out how to stay there. Somebody tell your neighbor, stay there. I can't leave this series without making sure you understand the secret weapon to power in God is learning how to stay there. How to stay in his presence. I'm not just talking about visiting with him. I'm not talking about visiting with him when you find yourself at church. I'm not talking about just having an encounter with him when you happen to feel like it. I'm not talking about having an encounter with him when you have a problem or an issue you need him to solve. I'm talking about carving out in your relationship with him an impulse to stay. Tell your neighbor, we need an impulse to stay. To stay in his presence. To not leave when something happens in our life, or squirrel distracted, or this bill's called me out of his presence, or this argument I got into. We got to learn how to stay in his presence. Do you know how to stay? When the biblical writers are talking about this concept of staying, they use the word abide. Do you know how to abide in his presence? Do you know how to remain in him? Do you know how to stay in the near place? That's called abiding in him. And you look altogether different to the enemy when you know how to abide in the presence of the Lord. When you know how to get to the cleft in the rock. When you know how to position yourself to a place where you can remain in him. You an altogether another thing for the enemy when you know how to remain. When you know how to abide. And the Lord said to Moses, there is a place near me. There's a place near me where you can stand. Sometimes the greatest challenge of building intimacy with God is just learning how to stay with him. Just learning how to be with him. how to sit with him, how to sup with him, how to stay. Committing to staying in the presence, staying in the place that's near to him. Psalm 27:4 says, one thing I ask from the Lord, the only thing I seek, that I may dwell. Jesus. Oh God. That I might dwell in the house of the Lord and all the days of my life, to gaze on his beauty, to seek him in his temple. James 4:8 said, come near to God, draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. Psalm 63:1 says, you, God, are my God. Earnestly I seek you. I seek you. I seek you. I thirst for you. My whole being longs for you. In a dry and parched land where there is no water, I long for you. There's a place, he said, near me. Family, what are you doing to nurture the near place? You got to nurture nearness with God, proximity to him, closeness to him. That's what's going on with Moses. We find Moses here in the pastures. He just finished dealing with Israel's massive blunder with that golden calf we talked about a few weeks ago. That's where we are in the passage. Moses had just finished with that situation, and he'd gone back up the mountain for another worship encounter with God, an encounter where God himself had spoken to Moses face to face like a man does to his friend. And in the encounter, God gave Moses new laws, new commandments, new tablets for the people, written by his own hand so that they could establish intimacy with him. And Moses, he was floored by the encounter. He was floored by it. He was floored by it. He was floored by it. He was amazed by it. But he said, God, I'm grateful that we got past the golden calf thing. Don't mishear me. I'm grateful we got past that. But you've been telling me that you want me to lead them, these people. But you haven't let me know who you're going to send with me. What is he talking about, Pastor? I thought Aaron was his partner. Aaron was the guy that's supposed to go with him. Well, that's true. God did send Aaron to be Moses' aide, but that's not what Moses is talking about here. Chapter 33 verse 2, after the golden calf failure, God, he forgave Israel. He forgave them, but he told them, I can't go with y'all no more. That was the decision. I forgive you. I love you, but I can't go with you anymore. I can't walk with folks that don't reverence my presence. That's what he said, verse 2. I can't go with you. I love you, but we can't walk together anymore because you don't honor me. He said, I'm going to send you to the promised land. I'm going to fulfill my word to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But listen, I'm not going with y'all myself. I'm going to send an angel before you. The angel's going to clear your path. You're going to be fine. Verse 2, he said, I will send an angel before you and drive out the Canaanites and the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites and go up to the land flowing with milk and honey. But I will not go with you because you are a stiff-necked people and I might destroy you on the way there. That's what he said. He said, y'all ain't going to have me catching a case with my justice and my grace coming into conflict. I'm just not going to go. And so when Moses got up to God on the mountain, just the two of them, he said, God, can we talk for a second about your presence? I just need to talk to you about your presence. I know we didn't honor you like we should. I know we didn't respect you like we should, but God, you've been telling me, Moses, I know you by name, and Moses, you found favor with me. You've been telling me, leave these people, but can we address the presence issue? If you're really pleased with me, God, I need to be near you. I need your presence. Somebody needs to understand the real evidence of God. God is pleased with you. It's not a promotion on your job. It's not about whether you're in the perfect marriage all the time. It's not about if your kids are getting along or not. It's nothing to do with how much money you got left in the bank after bills are paid. Nothing to do with whether you're eating at a 5-star restaurant or leftovers. None of that is evidence of God's pleasure with you. Moses says, if you're pleased with me, let your presence be with me. If you're pleased with me, let your presence be near me so I can learn your ways. Angel can't help me with that. I need to be near you. I need to be near you so I can learn your ways. I need to be near you so I can access your presence. I need to be near you. If I'm near you, I'll learn your ways. If I learn your ways, I'll know you. And if I know you, I'll understand how to continue to find favor with you. And as I find favor with you, I find myself even more near to you. See, that's the beauty of the near place. Being near to God gives you direct and undeterred access to his presence, and his presence is what really makes difference in your life. So Moses said, I'm sorry, Lord, I'm not going anywhere without your presence. I'm just not. I can't go nowhere without your presence. In fact, if your presence does not go with us, please do not even send us. Don't even send us. I've decided I'm not going anywhere where I can't be near you. Nothing against the angel. The angel is great. I know we messed up and tanked our walk with you, but cast us not out of your presence, Lord. Don't take your Holy Spirit from us, God. I want to be with you. I want to be near you. I don't care how sweet the milk and honey is. I don't care how amazing the promise is. I don't care how great the blessing. It pales in comparison to being near you. And I'd rather be stuck on this mountain. I'd rather be stuck on this mountain forever than try to pursue a promised land without your presence. I'd rather die right here, not accomplishing one more thing in my life, not moving one more step, not experiencing one more blessing if it means not being near you. Why should we go away without your presence after what I just experienced on the mountain with you? Where else could I go? Where could I even go that would replace that? What distraction could I even ever embrace that would feed me like that did? Moses said, how will anyone even know that you were pleased with me and your people unless you go with us? What else will distinguish me and your people from all the other people on the face of the earth unless you go with us, unless you allow us to be near you? We're nothing without your presence. My God. We're nothing without your presence. Please don't make us leave it, God. We don't reverence it like we should. We don't honor it like we should. But please don't make us leave it. Teach us how to handle it, God. Teach us how to hold you in it and be held by you in it. Don't make us leave. Verse 14. The Lord said, okay, you want to know me? You want to know how to make me smile? You want to know how to access my favor? He says, my presence. Okay. My presence will go with you. And I will give you rest. I will give you peace. I will give you security. And look, family, all I'm saying in this season, all I'm telling you in this season is that you and I are going to soon realize, we're going to soon realize that we need to develop a fight to stay in the near place. You're going to see it on the news. You're going to see it on your job. You're going to see it in the world around you, in the global world around you. Folks, you better be able to find him in the near place. You won't make it to the promised land without his presence. Do you hear me? You won't make it there without his presence. And the Lord said, verse 19, you want my presence? All right, here's what that is going to look like. He says, I will cause all my goodness to pass in front of you, and I will proclaim my name, the Lord, in your presence. Family, if you've ever wanted to see a moment in Scripture where God started thinking about his goodness and mercy and got so happy he started worshiping himself. He said, I will cause my goodness to pass in front of you, and I will proclaim my name. Oh, you good God. I will proclaim my own name. I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy. I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. But he said, you cannot see my face, for no one may see me and live. Verse 21 says, then the Lord said, there is a place near me where you may stand on a rock when my glory passes by. I will put you in a cleft in the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will remove my hand and you will see my back, but my face must not be seen. You know, Moses is credited with being the author of the 5 books of the Pentateuch, the Torah. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. You might say, how did he know what to write? That was thousands of years of history. Moses is said to have been the person God used to record those books, and rabbinic tradition holds that this is the moment in Scripture where Moses received the revelation of the Pentateuch. God told Moses, I'm going to put you in a rock and I'm going to let you see my glory pass by. I'm going to let you see my glory in past tense. You can't see my face. You can see my glory. You can't see my glory head first. You can't see where my glory is going. It'll blow your mind, but I can let you see my glory in past tense. I can let my glory pass before you, and I'll take my hand off long enough for you to see my backside. Long enough for you to see the glory that happened before. I can't let you see the ways. I can't let you see the future glory. I can't let you see where I'm going, but I can let you see the ways I've made. I can let you see all the doors I've opened. I can let you see all the miracles that I've made happen. I can let you see my glory in reverse. But listen. I got to put you in a certain place in order for you to see the glory of the past. I got to put you in that hard place over there. The place is near me. It's near me, but it's in the cleft, in the crack of a hard thing. I'm going to insert you into a hard situation. It's near me. Don't worry. It's close to me. But you're going to feel surrounded by hard things. But I need you to understand that's the only place I can put you where you can both stand on me and see my glory like I want you to. Somebody's asking right now, why my life always got to feel like I'm living in the cleft of the rock? Why does it always feel like I'm in a broken place? Why does it always feel like I'm in a hard place? Why does it always feel like I'm cramped up and tight? And God says, that's the only place I can put you for you to see my glory like I want you to. I got to put you in a hard place. His presence sometimes feels like a hard place. But there's nowhere else he can place you where you'll be able to stand. A hard place can feel hard, but it's also firm. It's solid. You will feel him under your feet. You will feel his strength holding you. You'll feel the comfort, the cocoon of his presence. It's a hard place. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's a hard place, but it's where you want to be to see his glory. When God finished passing by Moses, Moses was finally ready. Moses was finally ready because he didn't receive the new law. He didn't receive the new covenant. He didn't receive the new promise until God had let him stand in the hard place for a moment. But when God brought him out of that cleft, he was finally ready to receive the promise. He was ready to receive a new commandment, a new set of commandments that would govern his people's relationship with God that moment forward until Jesus rose from the dead. It was that moment, that hard moment, that allowed Moses to receive the revelation that would not just be what built his relationship with God, but would be what the entire people of Israel, future and past and present, would build their relationship with God on until the time that Jesus came and resurrected from the dead. Every promise, every protection, every aspect of Israel's covenant with God came out of that moment. And for the next 1,500 years, that covenant is what held them close to God. For 1,500 years. You're asking why I got to live in a hard place. It's not just about you. Somebody else's walk with God is going to be built on your hard place too. Somebody else's covenant with God is going to be built on your testimony. Somebody else's promise is going to be built on their ability to see what you've been able to build with God. 1,500 years. Every promise came out of that moment. What does God want to birth out of your near place? What does he want to birth out of your near place? Out of that hard place? Out of the crack, the cleft of the rock? He wants to birth something out of that. It's not just to inconvenience you. It's not just to make you feel challenged. It's not to make you question if he's there or if he loves you. No, he's trying to birth something out of that. He's trying to birth some nearness with him, some closeness, some proximity. There's a place near me where you can stand on a rock. Stand on your feet with me for just a moment.